3776 ESPN Nation, presented by Dr. Pepper. It's not college football season without the delicious taste of an ice cold Dr. Pepper. College football, it's a pepper thing. Along with Chris Canty, Michelle Smallman, Evan Cohen with you. Good morning, everybody. After two Monday Night Football games last night, the Vikings beat the Bears 30-12. And Atlanta survives, snaps their 4-game losing streak with a 15-9 victory over the Raiders, who are now on a 10-game losing streak. Bears on an 8-game losing streak. Minnesota on a 7-game winning streak. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Evan. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And you guys?
I'm doing all right. I feel like watching last night's game set football back a couple of years. But other than that, I'm good. Smalls?
Yeah, not exactly barn burners last night for Monday Night Football.
Nah.
And I do think Evan's in a better place than us because he was enjoying mixing and mingling with some celebrities last night at a big-time event in West Palm. Look at that smile on his face. So while we're sitting here watching mediocre to terrible football, Evan, while he's paying attention to the games, I think was having a better viewing experience than we were.
Yes. I mean, I did watch the second half of these brutal games. But yes, I was at the Breakers last night on Palm Beach Island for the big Berkey Foundation event, which was amazing. The Berkey Invitational, where there's some stories. There are some stories we're going to get to in just a little bit. I had a nice little sit down with CeCe's agent. We discussed a couple of things. So CeCe, you're done today. No, I'm just kidding. We did have the big sit down. There were a lot of quarterbacks there, Smalls. So, I was in I was in heaven in that. And I'll just say, did a Super Bowl MVP come up to me telling me that he watches us all the time? Maybe, maybe not. I'm going to go with the maybe on that one. I'll tell you that story in just a little bit. Oh, yeah.
What a
Out
good
of nowhere, I'm standing there, and a Super Bowl MVP jets over to me to talk to me about our show. How about that? You'll find out who that is in just a little bit. Ooh, nice little tease there. Did I eat too much? Of course I did, but that goes without saying.
America's wondering, Evan.
Yeah. Did I get caught eating ice cream by the best-looking quarterback there? Yes. Okay, but we don't need to discuss that. That's not important in this matter. So the Vikings defeat the Bears last night, and there's two sides of this, obviously, in this game. There's the positive and the negative. The positive is, how confident now are you in Sam Darnold? Because what we saw last night was another performance. Now, we did have an interception, but 24-40, 231, a touchdown and an interception. They win 30-12. And, guys, I keep going back to the idea of, what if they're the 1 seed? He's not going to win MVP. But, CeCe, the fact that Sam Darnold and MVP can be in the same conversation is truly remarkable. 29 touchdowns, 11 interceptions on the season. How confident are you after watching last night in Sam Darnold and the Vikings?
Well, the Vikings control their own destiny in terms of winning their division and putting themselves in the mix for the number 1 overall seed in the conference. So the constant has been that defense, which came up with another takeaway last night, which held the Chicago Bears to, I want to say, 2 of 15 on third down. So that defense under Brian Flores has been good all year long. So I'm confident that formula for them can travel. The question is whether or not Sam Darnold is going to put the ball in harm's way. And last night, he had too many throws that could have resulted in turnover-worthy plays. The interception that we got in the second quarter, I didn't mind it because it was on fourth down. He was trying to get something. It was a nothing play. There was no one there through his first few reads, so he just threw the ball up for grabs. I can understand that. But some of the other throws are just inexplicable. The one that pops out to mind is the throw that he had to T.J. Hockenson on the first drive in the second half over the middle of the field. You're throwing the ball with your guy there, and there are 3 defenders that are right there. I mean, Kevin Byard should have came down with the interception. Mm-hmm. And so there are just too many plays like that for my taste for Sam Darnold in a game against the Chicago Bears in primetime last night, an inferior opponent. And I would like to see Sam turn the page from those patterns when it comes to his play. He's just got to be a little more consistent. The guy that we saw against Atlanta a week ago is not the guy that we saw last night. And that's the part that makes it hard for me to jump out the window and fully trust that the Minnesota Vikings are true contenders in the NFC.
Yeah, the way that we feel about Sam Darnold, the fact that we can acknowledge the production and the fact that the Vikings are 12-2. They've won their 7th straight game. The production is there. The results from a team perspective are there. But I think when we're forecasting how we feel about them in the playoffs and their chances to actually win a Super Bowl, we temper ourselves because of Sam Darnold. And I don't know whether or not that's exactly fair because he has been producing and the team results have been there. But there is just something about his play where we're not fully ready to go there yet.
So let's talk about the other side of this. That would be the Chicago Bears, right? We know the Vikings are probably going to have an opportunity, maybe even for the division in the 1 seed last game of the season against the Lions if they continue to win. And if the Lions obviously continue to win, the other side of it would be the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick, 18 of 31, 191, and a touchdown on the season, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Maybe somewhat misleading in terms of that touchdown-interception ratio. While that's good, it feels almost as if somehow he has regressed a little bit over the last couple of weeks. And Caleb Williams post-game gave this assessment of how he would evaluate his rookie season thus far.
It's been frustrating and encouraging. I would say the frustrating part is obviously we're on a how many games now? 8? Yeah, 8-game losing streak, and that's not. Like I've said before, it's new to me. I haven't experienced anything like this, so that's the frustrating part. The encouraging part is how much we fight as a team. The encouraging part is us as a team being able to go through, and myself included, being able to go through kind of all of what's happened this year. Me not playing well in the beginning of the season, and feeling like I was seeing it well, and then being able to find ways to keep growing, keep progressing, through those times.
That's Caleb Williams. Guys, the Chicago Bears right now are 4-10. A year ago, they went 7-10. The whole point of this year was to be at least hovering around a playoff spot. And now it is more likely than not riding that 8-game losing streak with the Lions coming up in their next game, then the Seahawks, then at the Packers, potentially 3 playoff teams, that they may lose out and finish significantly worse this year than they did last year.
I expect them to lose out. And I expect them to finish in a worse position than they did last year. And it's a real shame because they did so many things right this offseason in acquiring talent to put around Caleb Williams and try to ensure that he was in a better position than most rookie quarterbacks. But when you elect to bring your coach in on a hot seat and you're not 100% sure about him, then you open yourself up for disaster. They left the door open for disaster, and that's exactly what happened. And for the first time in franchise history, you fire your coach, and then all of a sudden your rookie quarterback is put into turmoil. There's changes within the scheme. There's changes in what is expected from him and what's expected from the team. And I don't know why the Chicago Bears did this. It drives me nuts because it's such a self-inflicted wound that hopefully will not impact the development of their quarterback long term.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb Williams is struggling right now to see it. And what I mean by see it is go through his progressions, read it out, and get the ball out to the open receiver on time. There were times throughout the broadcast last night where Troy Aikman was pointing out that there are receivers that are not open but wide open by NFL standards, and Caleb Williams is not even looking in their general direction. And that has got to be alarming if you're a Chicago Bears fan. And a part of what concerned me a little bit about Caleb coming out of USC was his ability to be able to play on time, to play on schedule, to get the ball out of his hands in rhythm and allow the playmakers to do the heavy lifting. We know that he made those wild plays, those second reaction plays, those off-script plays that jump out at you. And in the NFL, your quarterback is going to have to do that. He's going to have to play above the X's and O's sometimes. But what we're seeing from Caleb Williams right now, Smalls, is him trying to play hero ball on every dropback. And that's not how you're going to be able to win in the NFL. Something about that has to change. I was looking at it last night and it felt like he's under constant duress. He's under constant pressure. And the left tackle situation didn't help matters. Braxton Jones was out with concussion symptoms. They had Kieran Amagaji that was in there, a round draft pick. You know he was swimming because he didn't get any reps with the ones throughout the course of the week of preparation. But even still, Caleb Williams is holding the ball way too long. I get that he's been sacked a ton. I think he's been sacked 58 times this season. But, Smalls, when you pare down the numbers and you actually look at it, Caleb Williams, when he throws the ball 3 seconds or less, has only been sacked once this year in 299 dropbacks. Once.
Wow.
So when he's getting sacked, it's because he's holding the ball too damn long. Now, I'm not saying